Hey guys, welcome back to How to Build a Blog with Laravel. This is part number 15, and this is going to be kind of a different episode today. This is going to be kind of a raw and just original episode. And so what's going on today is basically I promised you guys to do more videos, and I've been getting awesome feedback, by the way, from the FAQ page. So those of you guys that found it helpful, it's great. I'm glad I did it because I actually almost didn't. I recorded that whole video and then almost didn't post it because I thought maybe you guys wouldn't find it that helpful and you guys would just be pissed that I didn't do. I didn't just spend that time making part 14. So I was actually really worried about that, and I decided not to. I decided to just go ahead and post it anyway, and that's why it wasn't edited quite as much as because I didn't want to spend too much time on it, but. Anyway, it sounds like you guys found it useful, and I got really good feedback, and you guys have been sharing with me a ton about what you're working on and stuff like that, and I've been getting a really good chance to getting to know you guys, and since I'm really busy tomorrow, which is for the video that I was going to post, which will be today when you guys watch this, I'm super busy today, basically, the day you guys are watching this, and so this is the night before, and I thought about just skipping a video because Tuesdays are really busy for me. I go to the livestock auction every Tuesday, and it ends up killing 4 or 5 hours. And then I have work appointments around that usually, and so it burns like Tuesdays are the worst for me. So I almost didn't post a video, and then I thought, you know what? I want to do a quick one because I've got to know you guys really well, and you guys have been really honest and raw with me, and it's been really fun kind of getting to know what you guys are working on, getting to know your personalities, as those of you guys that have reached out and contacted me and stuff. I think it's awesome. And I decided, you know what? Instead of just skipping out in a video for tomorrow, let's do a quick video today that I'll post for today. And because I don't have the time to do full-on editing, I'm just going to do kind of what I'm going to call raw, where it's just like me going at it in front of the computer, and you're just going to see I'm going to make mistakes. And in fact, I'm recording this after the fact. So when I first recorded the intro, I said it was going to be a quick episode. And when I was done, I ended up talking way too long, and it ended up not being a quick episode. So anyway, this is not a quick episode. I apologize. It's a long one, but it's not edited in like as much as the other ones are. And so I think that you guys will find that useful to kind of see. I'm not saying this is the new format, but I'm just thinking it might be useful to see a few of these here and there, which kind of show the mistakes that I make along the way, how I actually have to reference the documentation for a lot of these things because I don't have it all memorized and stuff like that. A lot of you guys think I have this stuff memorized. I've been getting comments about that, and I don't. I look at the documentation, and that reminds me how a lot of it works, and if you do something enough, I'll remember. So I wanted to kind of show you guys how I work, and this is going to be just, like I said, a raw episode. It ends up being long because I go on a few tangents and talk about some some side note stuff that I normally would cut out from a super edited video, but I wanted to keep it in there because I think it might be useful for you guys. So anyway, I had fun doing this episode. They're not all going to be this way. We're going to go back to the heavily more structured and edited ones in the future. But for this one, I think it's fun. And I might make a habit of every Tuesday doing a video that's kind of raw like this because I always have limited time on Tuesday. And so it's kind of the best way for me to just get a video out quick because it doesn't take a lot of pre-production or post-production. I just kind of sit in front of the computer here, record a message with you guys, talk to you guys, and you guys get a chance to better get to know me, which I think is going to be cool as well. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this episode. This episode, we're basically going to take and enhance our posts.show a little bit more than we were able to in the last video. One of the main focuses we do in this video is working with dates and times with Laravel and PHP. And so this is a really common thing that a lot of people forget is or haven't worked with before, is sometimes working with dates when you pull them out of a database. It's a little tricky sometimes to get them to work the way you want with PHP. So we're going to show you how to work with dates when they come out of a database and how to output them to the user and stuff like that. So anyway, that's what this episode's about. I've talked long enough. Stay tuned for this episode. Leave a comment below if you guys like this or if you hated it. If you hated it, I won't do it anymore. That's plain and simple. So if you hated it, just let me know and I won't do it. If you enjoyed it, let me know, and then I obviously continue. And I might do these every Tuesday because I'm kind of limited on my schedule on Tuesday. It's always really busy. Anyway, that's it. Let's get started. All right, so quick video today. I am going to be swamped tomorrow, and so I know a video won't come out, will not come out unless I do it now, and I don't have time to do a full-on video, so we're going to be doing a quick one today, and it actually works out because after I finished the last video, I realized we should probably add a little more to our posts.show page, and you can see that I've got this set up right here. We just have we finished part 14. And we created this little item, this page here. I just wanted to add a little more information, such as the date that the page was created. So there's just a little bit more on this page, and that's what we're going to be doing today. All right. So basically, what I was thinking about doing is over here creating, instead of this being a full 12 column width page, I was going to make this area basically like a couple pages, a couple columns, like maybe 8 columns, and then 4 columns. We'll do a sidebar, and that sidebar will basically have some of the metadata for our posts. Now, as we continue on with this tutorial, we're going to be working on some other stuff for posts to kind of give posts a lot more depth. But right now, all we basically have to work with, all that we're storing and everything like that right now, is the title, the body, and the date that it was created and edited. So what I want to do is I basically want to add some buttons that are going to link us to edit the post, because we have, if you follow the CRUD architecture right now, we've already done the create, we're working on the read right now. The next thing we need to do is update. And update is basically editing a post to change something. So we would want to have an edit button on this page that takes us to a form where we can edit the blog post and then resubmit it to the database. That's part of the update command, which is coming up soon. But we're going to go ahead and create a button that links to that. Likewise, the final D of CRUD is to destroy or delete, and we need a button that we could delete it from here as well. And so I want to add those 2 buttons as well as our dates. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to basically put this into basically an 8 column grid. I think that'll work out good. And then we'll do a 4 column on the sidebar on the right. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up our project. I do have it open. Perfect. So right where we left off in the last video, again, you can grab it yourself over here in you can get into the project and open it there. Sorry, it's getting late at night and I'm getting tired. Okay, so we've got our project here. The one thing we just need to do is I'm going to go ahead and wrap this in the 8 column grid for Bootstrap. So we're just going to wrap this. Well, first thing we need to do is actually wrap it in a row. And then we can wrap it into a column MD8, which is going to put basically the body of and the title into the 8 column section. And then over here, we can do MD4, which is going to finish out the 12 columns. And then this can be the actual post, the sidebar, I mean. What I want to do is actually create a well on the side. I believe you just give it a class of well. Maybe double check that. It's been a while since I've done the, let's go to getbootstrap.com, and we're going to go over to the components. This is going to be kind of a raw video, guys. I'm not going to put a lot of fluff on this video. We're going to be learning as I go, or you're going to be going right along. I'm not going to have a ton of editing on this video here because I'm going to be moving really fast. I will link this up above so you can find it, but if you go to Get Bootstrap and then into the components, down at the bottom they have this well. This makes a good little sidebar. So basically you just give a class of well, and it basically creates this nice gray box here with nice rounded corners and everything like that. That'll be our sidebar. So let's, we've already done that. We gave it a class of well. So let's come back over here. And okay, that's what we've already done. And now what we can do is inside of here, let's go ahead. We're actually going to, let's see, we're going to have our created at here, and then we'll have our date that the item was created at. And then we're going to, I don't even know what I'm thinking. You want to put this into, we'll just do a paragraph tag for now. You probably would wrap that in like a definition tag. Let me just show you actually real quick. So there are these, this is kind of an HTML5 thing. It's these definitions is what they're called. And they've already got the CSS for them, I believe, in, let's see if we can find it. Here it is, a definition list. So this is something that's in HTML5 now, and this works really good with basically presenting information exactly like this. Basically what you have is, think about it like with a dictionary. You have like a term, and then you have like a definition for that. And that's what these definition lists are, description lists are. So there are horizontal descriptions that we have styled, and we also have these a traditional description. So we could do something like, let's go ahead and just do this horizontal description. So we set up a description list. That's what the DL is. Again, this is an HTML5 thing. You might not have worked with this before. This is, again, the best way to submit this kind of information. So I want to teach you guys something new. A lot of you guys might not have known about this. So we'll add this to the video. All right, so we're going to do that. We give it a class of DL horizontal, and then we do our definition title and our definition description. So the DT and the DD. So let's come back over here, and that's what we'll do right here. So we want to create a we're going to create a definition list, and then give the definition list a class of DL horizontal. If I can, horizontal. Hopefully I spelled it right. And then we got to close that, obviously. And then we're going to give it a definition title of created at, like that. And then we'll just do the definition description, and we'll just put time. We're going to fill this in dynamically in just a second. Let's go ahead and just do one more. We're going to copy that definition list, and then and then we'll do another one here. We'll say last updated, like that, and time. That'll be perfect. So let's go ahead and save that. Oh, and then let's go ahead and add our buttons for edit and delete. So if we come down here, we've got our well. We still want to be inside the well. So what we're going to do here is we're going to, let's just create a nice little, let's do a horizontal rule, not a HR. I always do that. Okay, HR for horizontal rule just creates a nice little line, spaces it out, and then below that we'll do the buttons. So I want to go ahead and create, let's have the buttons side by side. We'll have edit button and then the delete button. I'm going to go ahead and just create another row, like a class of row, and then we'll just split this into columns. So we can do small 12 and 2 of those. So if we do, I didn't mean 12, I meant 6. My bad. 6. And then I'm doing some crazy Sublime stuff. We'll do, I'm going to do a video series about Sublime coming up. So you guys can discuss some of these things in the tutorial if you want. And then I'm going to be doing some a thing about Sublime, some of these shortcuts that you see me using coming up soon. But anyway, in this one, we want to make an anchor tag, and I'll just have that go to a just nowhere for right now. And then we're going to give this a class of button, btn. Let's make the edit button like, just do button primary. That makes it blue. The default bootstrap style, button primary. And then button block just makes it full width inside of that column, which will be half of the, so we have a sub row here inside of, let's see, we've already got a row here, and then this is a sub row that should fit inside of this area if everything is working according to plan. We'll find out in a second. Okay, and then we're giving it a block, and inside of this sub row, we're basically splitting it into 2 pieces, so they should be side by side, and then the button block will just spread it its full width in the column. Let's have this say edit, and then we'll close the button, and then over here, we'll basically do the exact same thing. I'm just gonna go ahead and copy it. No shame in copy and pasting, guys. I do so much copy and pasting. That's the developer life. Copy paste, Google, copy paste, Google. That's what we do. All right, so and then we'll do delete. Destroy is kind of the more technical programmer term, but only programmers use. Everyone else uses delete. So delete is the more user-friendly thing to say here. If we change button primary to button danger, we get a nice big red button, which will be nice as well. Okay, so that should basically, let's sum that up. Let's go ahead and just look at this page in our on our server. So I've got the server running over here in my other tab. So I'm just gonna go ahead and refresh. And sure enough, we got exactly what we wanted. It says created at, last updated at, and then we've got these 2 buttons for edit and delete. and we have our post here. And as the posts were longer, it'll show a lot more information, obviously, over here. And then we just got our little sidebar there. Now, as we add categories and tags and all that other stuff, we can just add that over here as well. But for right now, this is perfect. And we'll want to link up these buttons in just a second. First thing I want to do is I want to pull the time in from the database and show you guys how to manipulate it. Okay, so I'm doing this again, guys. This is probably a really raw episode. Actually, let me know if you really like this style of episode that are kind of less polished and where I'm just basically turning on record, recording it all the way through, and just seeing what happens. You see a little more of the mistakes, and as I try to sometimes, even though I've done these things before, sometimes you just forget, or you need clarification, and you need to kind of go out to the internet and find it. There's absolutely no shame in that, guys. One of those places is dates. PHP dates or something I can never remember. Like, I know you do date, but the exact formulas, I don't think there's any purpose in memorizing it. And I'm going to go ahead and Google PHP date. There's no point in memorizing these formulas. Just, you have Google accessible, so you'll always basically come here and work from just the PHP API. So what we're going to do is we are going to take the date from the database and put it into a user-readable format. Okay. So for example, for those of you guys that have never used the PHP date before, there's this function in PHP called date, and all you need to do is you basically give it a format using some special codes down here, pass in the date, and it will format it into something very readable. Let's go ahead and just take a look at our database so that you guys can see how it's stored in the database and then how we're going to work with it. So if you come over here, go ahead and open up however you're working with the database. I'm using SQL Pro, and I'm just going to go ahead and connect directly into the database, open up our blog database over here on the left to look at the database that we've created. And then in our post table, you can see we've got a whole bunch of posts, and you might not have quite as many, but and then we've got our created at and updated at. So you can see this format here. This is kind of a standard format that MySQL stores it in. It's year, month, date, and then hours, minutes, seconds. Okay? So I believe, let's actually double check. Let's see, timestamp is expecting, what kind of format is it expecting? The value of time, which is a Unix timestamp. Okay, so because this is a Unix timestamp, the information, the way the information is stored in the database is as a string. Once again, we look in here, this is a date string and not a Unix timestamp. For those of you guys that don't know what a Unix timestamp is, a Unix timestamp is a very big integer number. What it represents is the number of seconds from a certain point in time. It was, I don't remember the exact date. We could look it up real fast. Unix timestamp date. Original date. There it was right there. Okay, wait a second. Here it tells you. So here, this is a good example. So unixtimestamp.com, you can see that as of right now, if you were to actually tell PHP at the point that I'm recording this video right now, if I were to tell PHP to give me the current Unix timestamp, this is what it would output for me. So it's this huge long integer. And what that represents is the number of seconds that have passed since January 1st, 1970, with UTC 0. So like Greenwich, meridian time or whatever. If your time zone is +0, it's that moment from January 1st, 1970. That's how many seconds have passed since that point in time. And that's kind of how a lot of computers actually track information and dates, is by this. I don't know where this arbitrary, maybe someone below can tell us in the comments, but I honestly don't know where this arbitrary date came in, or the significance of the arbitrary date. But it's always this date, and it's kind of the point in time that all computers have counted up from. Okay, so that's kind of how we do this. And this is the type of number that we need to pass into the date command to get it to work. All right, so if we come back over here, we need to do date, and then we're going to give it a format using some codes down here, which we'll do in a second. And then the second parameter we pass in needs to be a Unix timestamp. All right. Now we don't have a Unix timestamp. Our database is a string timestamp. So we're going to convert it from a string to a Unix timestamp using another PHP function called string to date, or something like that. What is it called? String to date? String to time is what I think it is. Oh, come on. This is the beauty of, there it is. It's string to time. There's no underscores. Okay, so string to time is it takes basically an English string like the one in our database and converts it into a Unix timestamp. Okay, so we're going to be converting it twice. Okay, so this is what's going to be really fun. And this is kind of why I wanted to put this video, is because if you're ever working with dates, you need to kind of understand how these work. Also, if you ever want to compare something like to see if like 2 weeks have passed since a certain time that you've received, the best way to work with that is to convert them both into Unix timestamps, because they're all going to be in seconds. And seconds are really easy to work with because you can do basic math. So you can calculate the number of seconds that have occurred in a week. So I'm going to pull up a quick calculator here. We're taking a bit of a tangent, but hopefully this is useful for you guys. So there's 60 seconds in a minute, right? So in order to find the number of seconds in a week, you would just take, there's 60 seconds in a minute, and there's 60 minutes in an hour, and there's 24 hours in a day, and there's 7 days in a week. And so you would end up with, there's 604,000 seconds, 604,800 seconds between in a 1 week. So what you could basically do is you could use basic math and subtract the date that you're working with by 604, 800, and so forth, to basically just see if the time that you're comparing it to was a week ago or more, or or less, or whatever. And you can use basic greater than or equal or less than to see if it was before or after a certain point in time, and so forth. Hopefully you're following along, but it makes it really easy to work with times when you convert them to a large, massive integer like that. You can make anything happen because of the integer. It makes it just really easy to work with. So if you're ever trying to do something like that, like if you want to compare and see if something happened in the last 24 hours or the last week, that's the best way to work with it. Take your time, your string of your time string, convert it to a Unix timestamp using the string to time, strto time command in PHP. You're going to convert them both to that, and then you can use basic math commands to compare them. So it makes it really easy. Okay, so that's our tangent for today. Let's come back over here, and we already have our post item. We called in our title, we called in our body. So if we want our time, what we're actually going to do, before we convert it, I'm just going to output the raw time just so we can see it. So we're going to do post and then created at. And where am I getting this, guys? You guys should know, it shouldn't be a mystery. I'm just pulling the column name. So created at with the underscore, that's the name of the column. And that's what I do here if I want to access the value of that column. So our updated at, if we come back over here, is just updated underscore at, and then I'll get this time right here. So we're going to do same thing. And I already see an error, but we'll go, we need to be doing our blade to echo it out. So then after we have our curly braces, then we can do post and then updated at, and that should do that. And then over here, we just need to do this. Let me guys know in the comments below. Let me know if you guys are using Sublime or if you're using another text editor. I was thinking about doing some stuff with Atom text editor, but I've been using Sublime for so long, so I'm really comfortable with it. But I've heard some amazing things about Atom, and so it's made by GitHub, and it's free. So let me know if you guys use what you guys use for text editors down below. Obviously, I'm using Sublime, but it's honestly it's very preference oriented to what you guys want. I'd love to hear what you guys are interested in. We can do some tutorials, and we can do have some fun. It'd be really interesting to kind of play around with different ones. Okay, so we've got post created at, post updated at. I'm going to go ahead and save that. Let's come back over to our web page and refresh. And here you can see that we're pulling in the exact time string from the database. So it's working really good. Let's go ahead and convert this to a friendly time. So back to our project over here. We're going to be doing the date command, and as you remember, the date command basically there was a string that we pass in, and we tell it what format to convert it to. And the second parameter was the timestamp that we're converting into a friendly format. So the actual timestamp we want to work with. This again is the string, so we need to go str to time, and then that will allow us to convert it to a Unix timestamp. So let's go ahead and do the exact same thing here. We're going to do date, and then I'm just going to do an empty string right now, and then str to time, and then we'll just close this off like that. Perfect. Okay, now we need to actually put in the string, the format that we want to work with. Now, in order to do that, we need to go over to the PHP website. I'll link this in the description as well, but come over to PHP, or you can just Google this. Just do PHP date. That's what I always do, and then it will come up, and you'll see the date manual. And this shows you exactly what I was working with. And keep in mind, this is actual PHP. This isn't really Laravel. This is actual like raw PHP. But that's the beauty of Laravel, is it's built on top of PHP. So anything you can do with PHP, you can do with Laravel. Do you see the thing? And because of the way Blade works, we can actually output raw anything. We don't have to do Blade helpers all the time. We could just use these Blade things here to actually run PHP. So that's what's really cool. We're actually running a PHP function. Okay, let's come back over to our PHP project website. And then down here at the bottom, you can see the formats that we can create. So what I want to do is we're going to just go ahead and put like the month in like a friendly format. Like say if it's March, we want to do March, but we're probably going to do the abbreviated version, so like MAR. And then we'll do the date, comma, the year, and then we'll just do the time and probably forget about seconds. We'll probably just do minutes or hours and minutes. So what we want to do here is we need to find the months. So you can see here that these are all the ways to represent days. And then this is how you represent weeks. This is how you represent months. So we want to do the abbreviated friendly versions of months, which are these ones right here. So like Jan is represented as JAN, December is DEC. So in order to represent that, we want to do the capital M. And it tells you here it's a short textual representation of a month with 3 letters. Okay, so we want to do M. So let's come, this is gonna be kind of weird, but we'll just do, here in our string, we're gonna do capital M, right? Then we're gonna give it a space because when we format this out, we want it to represent those three letters, and then we want to do the day of the month. So the day of the month is up here. We had day, and it says here day of the month with leading zeros. We don't need leading zeros because this is going to be friendly for humans, and humans don't need leading zeros. So by the way, a leading zero is like if it's the first of the month, you have the 01. We don't need that. We just need this. So day of the month without leading zeros, it's a J. So let's come over here, and we're just going to do lowercase j, then a comma, then a space, and then we'll do the years. So year, this tells you whether it's leap year or not. We just need 4 digits, full numeric representation of the year. It's capital Y. Okay, so over here we do capital Y, and then we can do, I'll just do a space. That's fine for me. And then we'll do just the hours and days. So come up, down here probably, let's see, time zones, time right here. 12-hour format without leading zeros. Let's just do that. So we'll just do a G, and you can really get technical here if you just want to do hours. Well, let's just do that. So hours and minutes with leading zeros. So H and I. So let's come back over here one last time, and we're going to do capital H, colon, because it's a time, so we're going to do a colon, and then lowercase I. And then this should give us what we want. I'm going to go ahead and just copy this. We want the same format down below here. So copy and paste, save. Let's come back over to our project. Let's refresh. We get an error. What is our error? This is not good, guys, because I did not. This will be embarrassing if I can't figure out what the problem is, because this is live. I honestly do not know. Okay, yep, there's the problem. All right, so we missed out a special parentheses, the most common error in the world. Parentheses, guys, you gotta be careful. They always mess with you. All right, so basically we opened parentheses here. We didn't have a closing. We opened it here, closed it, but didn't have a second closing. So anyway, make sure you have two parentheses at the end. Kudos to you if you caught it before I did. Good job. All right, so now let's go ahead and try this again. Come back over to our project. Refresh. Sure enough, we get the right thing. This is weird. So this is actually 24-hour format. Since it just depends where you are in the world. I'm in America, so we generally use 12-hour format. So anyway, in 12-hour format, we should have done, what did we do here? It was lowercase h. That's what I should have done. It just depends on where you're at, obviously, the format that you want to do. And then also I forgot PM. So because of 12-hour format, we need to do AM and PM. But if you don't need that, if you're doing 24-hour format, it probably doesn't matter. So I'll just do lowercase. So lowercase a for lowercase AM or PM. Let's go ahead and just make that quick change. So the capital H needs to be lowercase h. And then we need to do an a lowercase a over here. Lowercase h, lowercase a. Let's go ahead. Let's try this one more time. Sure enough, there we go. Perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. Looks great. All right, perfect. So now the last thing we have to do is basically just make these buttons work. Let's send them to named routes, even though they don't quite work yet. We're going to send them to named routes so that they're going to work as soon as we finish the functions that these point to. All right. So we're going to learn something that I don't think have we done yet? I don't know if we've done link routes yet, like link to. I don't think we've done that yet. Or link to, that's Ruby. Okay, so now let's go ahead and actually make these buttons work. Let's get them to be more Laravel-esque, if you get my drift. All right, so let's come over to here. So right now we're doing static HTML. This works. This is fine. This works. This does the trick. But I want to show you the Laravel way of handling this. So let's go ahead and just output some blade here. And not sure why I'm struggling with that. We're going to actually just execute some code here. And we're going to do HTML link route like this. Okay. This allows us to pass in a named route and get a full anchor tag just like this will be generated from this little HTML helper. Obviously, to make this work, make sure you have the Laravel collective installed that we did a few videos ago. I think it was part 12. Okay, so link route. The first parameter of linked route is going to be the name of the route that we're going to. In this case, we're going to go to posts.edit, posts, plural, .edit. Because this is going to go to the edit page of post.edit. So that's what we want to do there. The second parameter is going to be the value, which in this case is edit. Okay, that's the value of the anchor tag. So we're just going to do edit. The third parameter is any parameters that you need to pass into the URL. Let me explain. Let's come over here and let's do PHP artisan route list. And you can see here that when we go to post.edit, that it's actually expecting a URL parameter here. So we need to pass in the ID, the primary ID of that it should put in this spot. And in that case, that's what the third item is. We need to pass that in as an array. Even if there's only one item, it requires you to pass it in as an array. So in this case, what we want to do is we're going to pass in the ID for this post that we're working on right now. So we would just do post and then ID like that. Okay, and that'll put the ID there and that'll put it into, so post slash the ID of this post slash edit. And that's what it will create right here. Now, if you don't have any variables, you need to pass in an empty array. So if you were, let's say you're going to just post.index right here and we don't need any variables. For this third item, if you would just need to pass in an empty array like that. except we did the double parentheses thing again. Make sure you have the right number of parentheses. Okay, so let's do that again. Post ID. And then the fourth and final item is another array, and this is all your other options. So you can do class, you can do ID, you can do anything else if you have any data attributes or something like that. In this case, we're going to set class equal to all these classes down here. So let's just copy this. Copy, and then we're just going to paste it as a string in here. And that should do it. So now we can actually delete this one. And if everything works, let's go ahead and save this and come back to our project, refresh, and everything worked except we have an extra parentheses for some curly braces. Probably just means here's the, I don't know how it got out there, but anyway. So that's what caused it. So otherwise it's working. I didn't save it, but let's go ahead and just do the exact same thing here. So I'm going to go and copy, and then I'm going to paste it over this one. So again, this HTML link route allows you to give it a named route, and then it generates a whole anchor tag for you. So this is kind of the more Laravel way of making a link. Let's do delete. And then the only other thing we got to change here is primary to danger, so it's red. And post.destroy, I think. Let me look real quick. Yep, so the named route here is post.destroy. It's good to have your routes open so you can see what they are. So post.destroy. And do we need a URL? We do need an item, but we already have that. It's being passed in as well. Okay, so this should work. Let's go ahead and just refresh. Sure enough, we've got it working. And if you look down here in the corner, you can see that it's going to post-13-edit. And sure enough, we're on post 13. So that's exactly what we would expect. Same with delete. We're going to send a delete request to post/13. That should delete the post. Okay. So anyway, that is basically all we're going to do for this video. There's not really anything else to do for this page. So we're basically done here. We've finished the post.show. In the next video, we're going to do post.index, where we show all of the posts that we have. It allows you to kind of mass manage all the posts together. Okay. Now, I hope you guys had a good time on this video. This is a little different than some of my past videos because, like I said, I'm going to be swamped tomorrow, and I know that I promised to get you guys videos more often in my last FAQ page. And so I wanted to get you some more of them. And of course, I've been getting great feedback, and that just kind of lets me know you guys love the videos and want more of them. So I appreciate it very much. This is kind of my way of saying thank you. I wanted to throw together a quick video because I knew I couldn't do a full video. Those take quite a bit more time. But I've got a whole bunch of appointments tomorrow, and I know I've got to leave at like 8 a.m. and I'm not going to get back till 9 or 10 o'clock. So we've also got anyway, I don't need to bore you guys with my life. Anyway, I've got some exciting stuff. I love one of my favorite things is going to the livestock auctions. I go every Tuesday, and anyway, we bid on livestock and stuff. And so anyway, I got that tomorrow, and then I've got a bunch of work stuff to do as well, and it's just going to be too busy. So I wanted to throw together a quick video today for you, and I hope this is definitely a different format. This is kind of a more raw and like original format where it's just like me sitting in front of the computer and just working and doing it with you without any of the fancy edits or without a script or anything like that, kind of a plan. I just kind of went for it, and I hope that was something that was interesting to you guys. I'm not saying that they're all going to be this way, but I might start mixing a few of them in because it's kind of fun. I kind of liked how easy it was to just kind of do this, and I can joke around a little bit more, have a little better time, and you guys can kind of see my mistakes too. There were several points there where I kind of bumped up a little bit, and you guys can kind of see how I work around those, which I think is also really good to see how programmers work. When I first started programming, I kind of assumed programmers were perfect, and it wasn't until I started watching other programmers that I realized that they do a lot of the same stuff that I do that I kind of felt guilty for. For example, I would go, you Google stuff all the time, and I would feel really guilty. And real programmers, whatever a real programmer is, who knows what that is. But anyway, people that I really respected that were programmers did the exact same thing that I did, and I was shocked. And so an example here is looking at PHP date. I used to be like kind of force myself to try to memorize it when I was first getting into programming. Let me tell you guys, it's a waste of time. Every time you're programming, you probably have access to the internet, and you're going to be able to just access those docs, easily. A side note, I shouldn't mention, there is an app. I'm going to do a review about an app. I don't have my iPad here. It must be in another room. But there's an app you can get for your iPad that's called Dash. I think it's called Dash. I need to look. And it basically allows you to download all of these documentations. So the Laravel documentation, Ruby on Rails documentation, PHP documentation. You can actually download these onto your iPad, and you can view them without internet connection, which is pretty cool. So I'll do a review on that app as well at some point after, as a side to this series, not necessarily part of this series, but I just think it'll be relevant for you guys. And that's another way. If you know you might not have access to internet, you can use something like that. It's an iPad, and I think it's on the iPhone as well, and it's called Dash, I believe, but don't quote me on that. And let's just look real fast. Dash iPad app. Let's see. Maybe I'm completely crazy. I spelled it wrong. That'll do it for you. Dash iPad app, and what's it? Documentation, maybe? Programming? We'll just throw some keywords in here. Man, why can I not spell tonight? Okay. Here it is. I think this must be it. Dash. This is it, guys. Okay, I'll do a review about this app, but if you guys want to go ahead and take a look at it now, this is a quick way to get into... So there's one for Dash, and then there's one for your computer, and I actually think I have this. Let's go to the App Store real fast. I think I have this. I do. I just need to install it. I had it on my other computer. I'll go ahead and do this. I got a fresh computer, and so I haven't done it yet. Anyway, side note, basically, there's one for iOS, there's one for OS X. So sorry, Windows guys. I'm sorry. I just don't spend enough time on Windows to know some of the way, all the Windows tips and tricks. But if you guys have them, share them below, and I'll pass it on to everyone else as well. But basically, iOS and OS X, this is a cool app that lets you download documentation. Like, let's see here. Look at all these documentation and framework. CoffeeScript, CodeIgniter, Laravel's in here, I know for a fact. So OS X is in here. I know Laravel's in there. Emmet, which is something we were using today with Sublime. I'll talk about another time. That's in here. Foundation, Font, Awesome is in here. JavaScript, just everything. There is so many. Here's SAS, which we'll learn in some other. We'll do some videos about SAS. MySQL is in here, and SQLite. Just everything that you would need is literally in here, and you can download only the ones you need because they take up a couple, some of them are 30, 40 megabytes, some are 100 megabytes. So you just want to do the ones you'll actually use. If you don't know, I don't even know what SaltStack is. So, there's no point in me installing the documentation for that. Anyway, the nice thing about this is it has all the documentation for these frameworks, and you can install it for offline use. And that's really handy. Here's the PHP one, for example. So you can install the entire PHP documentation, which is all of this, and you have it available for offline use. So I was surprised at how many of the viewers are actually from countries like the Philippines and India and stuff like that. And awesome, guys. First of all, it's great to have you here. I think it's cool to kind of get people outside of the U.S. working with us. And anyway. So I was working with a guy in the Philippines, and up until very recently, actually, we worked together for 4 or 5 years. And he lived in the Philippines, and he had outages on his internet all of the time. And he's actually one that passed me on to this because he's in where he lived in the Philippines, which is not Manila, by the way, which I know is the capital, I'm pretty sure. He lived in a more rural area is what he had told me. I don't remember the city. And but he said his internet's really unreliable. And so he would use this app because that way he could continue to program with and have access to and he's one of the programmers that I kind of respected. And he would have access to the documentation, which you need as a programmer without needing internet access. And so that was one way that he got around it. So if you if you live in an area maybe that's a little tougher to get consistent internet, and that's something you worry about, this might be something you want to look into, is this app called Dash. And we'll do a full app. It'll be kind of fun. We'll do something. I want to do some fun stuff, guys. I've been getting a chance to really meet you guys. And when I first started this, I thought I'd just kind of teach you guys some stuff and just kind of, it'd be cool. But then a lot of you guys have been emailing me and telling me what you're working on and stuff like that, and hitting me up on Twitter and tell me what you're doing. And I think it's awesome, guys. It's been really fun trying to get to know you guys and help you guys out and stuff like that. And I'm super busy right now with work, so I can't. A lot of you guys have been asking for me to help you with, do some significant help with some of your projects. And unfortunately, I can't do take on a significant project, but if you guys have little bugs and stuff here and there, I've been a lot of people have been emailing me those. I'm happy to help you guys with some of those things that just take a few minutes or less than an hour. But I can't join any major projects right now that require lots of time. I've got a lot of my own stuff going on, but for the little things, guys, hit me up. Let me know what you're working on. I'd love to give you guys a shout out. I got 3,000-4,000 people on Twitter right now, so followers, and so I don't know if that's of any value to you, but if you guys are releasing a new web app or something, hit me up, let me know, and I'll give you guys a shout out to at least my followers for what it's worth. I'm not saying I'm some celebrity, but it might get you a couple users, so for what that's worth, let me know. But it's been really good to let you guys to get to know you guys better. So I want to do some more of these raw videos, original videos, so you guys can get to know me better as well. So that's kind of why I wanted to do this video today. All right, I've babbled on long enough. For those of you guys that have stuck in this long, this video, because of my jabbering, has taken way longer than I wanted it to. So those of you guys that stuck to it, thanks so much. It's great to have you. Leave a like below, subscribe. You probably already have. If you've listened to me this long, I'm assuming you're subscribed. Otherwise, you guys would have shut me off long before. So I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Let's see, this video is going to come out. For me, it's tomorrow. For you, this will be today. And then I'll hit you guys up on Wednesday, at least in the US, for when it'll be Wednesday. And we'll do the video about post.index, and that'll show all of our videos, all of our posts that we have, and allow us to kind of edit them in bulk and do some stuff like that. So that's what we're working on Wednesday. So that's coming up, and I'll see you guys then. Thanks a lot. Bye.